Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm sitting here thinking about the Lakers and what they could do for themselves in regard to the center position. And another name has come up. I looked at the injury report. Cole Swider. Now, I don't want him playing the center position by any stretch of the imagination, but I do see him as a strong four. And one thing that he does do is chase down blocks. Now, how that translates to weak side help defense, or whether or not I want to consider him paint presence, God, no, I do not. But what I'm saying is we need somebody down there who we can put in at the center position and just ask to play center. Now, I'm not saying I want him playing center, but he's better than nothing. And what I understand is that the Los Angeles Lakers have ruled him out of this game, of course, but he is called up or part of the team to whatever degree. Is that not a solution possibly to at least add him to the roster? If not, so that we can have a little more front court depth. If we don't want to play him at the 5, we could at least slip him in to help give us a little more minutes to take away, give guys a break a little bit. I don't know. I'm just trying to brainstorm here. I know we need a center, and I know we don't want to pick up somebody in the buyout market. Okay, fine. But we do have to do something, man. Like, that's really where I'm at with it. We have to get ourselves some front court help. And if you don't want to get a center, I'm not cool with that. But what we can do is get us yet another 4 to put in that 5-man rotation so we can give ourselves an extra 6 fouls. Someone else that if somebody rolls an ankle, so we're not completely running small ball. You know what I mean? I think if you bring in Cole Swider, at the very, very least, if you start having players go down, at least you have another 4 that you can slip in at the 4, so that if you do have to play Rui at the 5, you got a little more wiggle room to do that with your roster instead of completely going small ball, like all the way small ball. Now, I know Cole Swider doesn't play as many minutes with this team, and as I said, he's a 4. I don't want him playing the 5 no more than I want Rui playing the 5. Probably less. But to be honest with you guys, at the end of the day, we need to have more help on the front court. And if we don't get that, our Los Angeles Lakers are going to find themselves in a position where, quite frankly, I don't think we're going to have enough going up against some of these players. One guy that I know we're going to see twice, that Trevor Lane mentioned, that I know is looming, but, it's kind of one of those situations where it's time for us to start singling out the centers who we're going to be seeing. And I think the Utah center down there, we need to be very, very careful about him. His name has slipped my mind at the moment, but we need to be very careful about who they have in the front court at the Utah Jazz, because at the end of the day, that is a shot blocker, a complete and utter shot blocker. The guy they got from the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Rudy Gobert trade, Walker Kessler is his name. And trust you me, he is going to have a very, very strong end of the season trying to help his team get in the playoffs as a player who can get rebounds, block shots, and just be a big, huge 7-footer. If we go in there as is, and let's just say Anthony Davis may not be available for one of those 2 Utah games, you could probably pencil us in for having a lot of trouble with their front court. Now, granted, Vanderbilt, Beasley, and those guys are going to be wide awake for that game, because that is a game, or rather 2 games, where they're going to be facing their old team. But I can't see us being able to overcome the size matchup that Utah provides us. When I've been watching THT, our old guy, THD, it's what I'm trying to say. I've been watching him with the Utah Jazz, and he's been balling out completely. And one of the ways he's been doing it is mowing people over with his huge size. We know how big he is, but we haven't seen him play as much this way, only in spurts. They're getting the most out of him. And they have a big team. They're not overly talented, but they're huge. Olynyk, Rudy Gay, players like that, we need to be very careful. They're getting something out of that rookie now that they have down there. Agbaji, he's starting to hit shots. Also another big body. So I'm not looking at the Utah Jazz as a team that we're just automatically going to be able to beat twice. We played them the very last game of the season, and I'm concerned that Bamba will not be available for that game. We played them, I think, maybe 4 games before that as well. So that's a situation where I can already see us not having that center in place could be a problem. So I just want to start thinking about these things ahead of time. Since it's already understood, we're going to have to see Ayton. We're going to have to see Zubats. These guys are on the down the pipeline for us. Karl Towns may be coming back. If Rudy Gobert's out there too, how the heck are we going to deal with that? We have to win that game because of the fact that we've been losing the Timberwolves game beforehand, and of course the Rockets game that just happened, and that Memphis game, and all these other games that we've been losing in this flurry. We got to get it together, LA. And, the talk of the town is how the Lakers are not doing enough to get this front court thing going while Bamba and Bron are out. And so, for me, that's the only conversation worth having. Because as long as we have that as a disadvantage, I do believe it's going to trickle down to other issues. And since it's becoming a big thing, I wouldn't doubt it's starting to creep into the minds of the players as they go out there. It's like, man, how much do I believe in what I'm seeing and what we're doing? And that's what it becomes a situation where guys' energy start to wane. When they look down there and they realize what they're doing doesn't add up. They can't succeed doing it. It's like the same problem I thought we had in the first half of the season for a little bit, where guys were just hanging their head because they didn't believe in what they were doing. So I don't think this is the time for that. But when you see organizational decisions like this, you start to wonder if it's going to trickle down to people not wanting to play hard, not wanting to, not believing, basically. So I thought I saw a little bit of that in the Rockets game, to be honest. And I think a return to having a star down there like Anthony Davis will help. But at the end of the day, we're leaning too much on him staying healthy and out of foul trouble in order for us to have any front court help. So with that being said, we just got to do what we have to do to make sure that piece is in place. And don't give ourselves any excuses. I don't think that you can really see any success down the stretch of these 12 games being solidified if any of them games you're not having AD in the game. You're not going to succeed. You're going to see more of what we saw against the Rockets, against any other player, against any other team rather, that he's not a part of until we get this situation straightened away. So that's what I want to say to everybody. We just got to straighten that out. I don't care what anyone is talking about in regards to how hard the players need to play and hustling and all that stuff. And, we must, get back on defense and all these other things that really do matter, but aren't going to add up even if you do them because of this size mismatch and the fact that we just don't have enough sometimes, particularly with our main guys out. So, yeah, that's the thought, man. Hopefully, the Lakers will go out there and kind of take advantage of the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are not very big as well. But, understanding that they have multiple weapons that are going to be attacking us tonight. And it's not just a one-man band like we usually see in blue there. So, I'm pretty confident the Lakers understand what they need to do. I'm pretty confident they're embarrassed about how they went out there last night, in the last game. Rather, I'm pretty confident that at the end of the day, Malik Beasley is a player who, even though he's hot and cold, he has a good rhythm about him, I think. And the chances of him having a solid night or a better night than he did against the Rockets, I think, is pretty high, especially since we're coming home. And, this is going to tell us a story about whether or not any of our players have that, what I call the crypto.com jitters. And that means when the crowd is rooting for the Lakers and it's, responsible for them to hit home shots and kind of do it under the bright lights. Some guys clam up. Some guys don't really play as well. We've been on the road a lot. I want to see how guys handle this homestand. We're going to be home for about 5 games straight, and we will know if guys have a certain timidness or a certain anxiety or whatever that comes with playing in this building for our team, like we had in the past with certain other players over the years. So, that'll let us know who we can invest in and who maybe we shouldn't. But at the end of the day, I think we have some really confident guys. And for me, I'm just looking forward to seeing D'Angelo Russell feeding off of the home crowd, because he definitely feeds off of our building very well. That's not going to be a problem. I think he actually will probably play better at home than he may on the road. So I'm excited about that confidence kind of igniting our crowd and him taking advantage of momentum once again, as he once spoke about last week. And hopefully that can lead us to some victories, man. This is a soft part of the schedule. We're supposed to be able to win against Dallas without Luka, possibly without Kyrie. We're definitely supposed to beat the Orlando Magic as well. And there's some other games down there. I think we see Phoenix, and KD, of course, is not back. So these are teams that, you have to beat. It's not even about whether or not they're better than you, or if all their horses out there or you have all yours. It does not matter. because with every passing game we lose, we come closer to the end of our season. And even though we may not be mathematically out, um, it's still something that you don't want to play around with. Also, um, someone, I don't remember the name of the person. In fact, I know I don't follow him because I don't have a Twitter account myself. But someone posted on Twitter um, the surrounding games of the players that are in this kind of 4 or 5 game mix with us in these standings. And essentially, what I've come to understand is that we probably have the easiest schedule of the teams listed. Dallas, besides New Orleans, New Orleans has an extremely easy schedule for the rest of the way. Uh, but the rest of these teams, some of these other teams, they don't. Dallas and I think it was Utah and Timberwolves. They got a tough way ahead. I think it's the Clippers also kind of have a strong schedule ahead. So there's a way for us to pull forward. You know, we can kind of take advantage of our schedule, win the games we're supposed to win, and the odds of us having good luck are pretty good based on who everybody else has to play. So that, I think, may be by design. Hopefully, we can take advantage of it. But the Lakers could have did themselves a whole lot of favors if they would have just done what everybody asked them to do. You know what I mean? It was not going to be the worst thing in the world to just get a 10-day or call up one of those G League guys, a Paris Bass or something like that. It would not be too rough to make sure that that player is rostered on the team. And I did hear of Darvin Ham saying that he didn't want to add anyone to the team because he thought it would mess with chemistry. I'm not necessarily buying that at all. I just think he's saying what he needs to say to cover the backside of the organization he works for. They don't want to add a player, and he's supposed to like that, right? But at the end of the day, he knows that would probably be best if he added a center on the floor, even if he doesn't want to use him. For insurance purposes, you always want more front court help. I mean, I don't see any harm in adding somebody, and chemistry is not going to be disturbed by one more guy playing the center position for 2 weeks or something like that. So I don't think he buys that statement. I don't think he expects anybody else to buy that statement. I just think it's what he's supposed to say. I honestly believe that. Now, if we were adding like a bunch of players, that's a different story. If we had a specific character that we were coming in with the center position who's going to, blow everything out of whack, then of course we don't want that guy. But some regular center that can just come in and just put on his shoes and run around, yeah, that should not be a chemistry issue. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say in response to that. So the game starts, I believe, at 7:30, and of course the game's out here. So everybody, enjoy that game. I have something for you at halftime and at the end of it as well. Video 44. Thank you all for watching.